back to my nostalgia, and this time we're going to look at some artists from Great Britain, specifically from England. Their names are Peter and Gordon, and at the end, after you watch and listen to the song live, I'll give you the trivia behind the song and the people. The nostalgia part is my high school was co-institutional. So you had boys and girls, but they're separated by a building, and the only classes we actually ever took together were the sciences. The girls were very, very nice. They were kind, and then there was us. We were interesting. Anyway, we chose Lady Godiva as a song that we just thought was perfect at the time. And so we called our local disc jockey. His name was Rick Shaw. Yes, Rick Shaw. And we called one evening when he was on the air and said that our song for our school and our class was Lady Godiva. Would he mind playing it? And he did. And it seemed like the song actually gained even more traction after that. And he was kind enough to play it for us following our graduation as a special event that he did. I'm sure somebody called and told him we were graduating. It wasn't us. So that's where our nostalgia comes from with the song Lady Godiva by Peter and Gordon. And please watch after the song and listen for the trivia, which is actually a bit interesting.
17, a beauty queen. She made a ride that caused a scene in the town. Her long blonde hair hanging down around her knees. For all the cats who dig striptease, praying for a little breeze. Her long blonde hair falling down around her arms, hiding all the ladies' charms. Hey, 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 Lady Godiva. She found fame and made her name. A Hollywood director came into town and said to her, how'd you like to be a star? You're a girl who could go far, especially dressed the way you are. She smiled at him, gave her pretty head a shake. That was Lady G's mistake. Hey, 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 yeah. Lady Godiva. He directs Certificate X, and people now are craning their necks to see her. 'Cause she's a star, one that everybody knows. Finished with the striptease shows. Now she can't afford her clothes. Her long blonde hair lying on the barber's floor. She doesn't need it long anymore. Hey, 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 Lady Godiva.
Well, there it is, and that was in the 2000s, early 2000s, that you could see them singing this song. Now, some trivia about the song, or just some information that you may not have known. The song was released in September of 1966, and you'll start seeing some things come together which I think are interesting. It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios, Abbey Road. The producer at Abbey Road actually produced the first 6 Peter and Gordon songs. Of course, the artists were Peter and Gordon. The song itself was written by Mike Leander and Charlie Mills. And so let's go on from there and see what else we could learn. For Peter and Gordon, this was a change from the ballads they had been singing, the nice melancholy ballads, to more of a music hall type of sound. So it was a little bit of a departure. In a way, it was a comeback too. They had 2 songs that had not done quite so well, but Lady Godiva quickly rose to number 6 here in the U.S. Trivia. It is understood, I've not found anything definitive, but it's understood that the mayor of Coventry, England, now that's where Lady Godiva supposedly went through the town, he banned the record as very bad press for Coventry, and he didn't like the wording of it. Peter Asher, when the song was presented to he and Gordon, he said no. And he just said he didn't really like the song. He didn't like the words. He just didn't like the song. And Gordon Waller told Peter, just shut up, it's funny. Gordon Waller unfortunately passed away earlier in this century. I think it was 2010, if I'm not mistaken. But you saw him singing with Peter Ashton. Peter Ashton is very, very active. I've heard him a lot on a Beatles channel with some just great and interesting stories that he had told. Also, Peter Asher's sister was Jane Asher, and if you've never heard of that, she was Paul McCartney's girlfriend for about 5 years in the 60s. They had planned to get married, and actually, Paul McCartney lived in the Asher home. Paul McCartney wrote several songs for Peter and Gordon, and they did take credit, or he did take credit for some of the songs by saying it was done by Lennon and McCartney. There was a song, however, named Woman that he wrote, and he decided to see if his name had anything to do with hits, decided not to use his name, and was Bernard Webb as the writer of that song, and even in some pressings, A. Smith. So McCartney tried that to see what would happen, and Woman was a hit, more in the U.S. than the U.K., which is interesting, by the way. And they also sang If I Fell, which was a Lennon-McCartney song. So they got a lot of stuff from Paul McCartney, and I think some from McCartney and Lennon both. And one of their hits was I Go to Pieces, which was written by Del Shannon. So they got a lot of music from a lot of very influential people. Peter eventually became head of one of the divisions at Apple Records, and so there was a bit of a coming home there. He recorded some in California. He managed and produced artists such as James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt. He also produced recordings for Cher, Diana Ross, and his daughter, Victoria Asher. So, very, very talented person, still very active, and if you could ever hear his stories, they're really good when he does those. He reunited with Gordon, and so the two of them reunited in 2005. So there you go. So the Beatles, Abbey Road, Apple Records, Paul McCartney, McCartney and Lennon, Peter Asher, it all kind of comes together, and it's like so many of these acts, and even here we're going to throw in Shannon, and we're going to actually do one of his songs in a not too distant future. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you really liked it. I think it's the first time I've taken you across the ocean to listen to an act from there. So you guys take care. There'll be a lot more from England, as you can imagine, as we had the British invasion.